Boy, did I miss that intro. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Whiskey Jedi podcast. My name is Jake Berlin. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm back. I'm excited to be back. It's a little bit thrown together tonight, but I'm excited to be here and cannot wait to get back on the mic on a weekly basis as things are now finally starting to calm down. I apologize for not doing a show over the last few weeks. We've been gone. We've been doing things. There's been all kinds of things happening here at the household. And as you can tell, I'm trying to get my lights to work again because they got all jacked up while we were moving stuff. So I apologize. I thought I had this right, but I guess I don't. I'm just very shiny tonight, and I'm just going to have to live with it. That's a little better. That's still pretty bright. Whatever. We're here. Thank you again. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Appreciate you guys being here. If you are live, if you're watching on the replay, I still appreciate you guys just as much as everyone else. Just getting people to watch this show is always a joy. So thank you very much. No, that's terrible. How about this? Maybe it's my computer screen. I don't know. Probably the lights, if I'm being honest. The lights are probably very janky at this point. They're old. They don't do their job properly. Whatever. I'm going to roll with it, guys. Yeah, look, as you can tell, everything is kind of weird back here. It's different than the last time that I was on camera, and there's one big reason because of that. I had to take everything out of our garage. Literally, every aspect of our garage, laundry units, refrigerator, all of this behind me was packed up. And it was all put into our backyard. We got our garage floor done. And Gabby actually won a giveaway to have our garage floor epoxied, which is a super, super cool kind of just covering for your garage floor. Very excited to have it. It's beautiful. It's comfortable on the feet. It looks great. And even though it was an absolute pain to move everything, especially doing it after Bo went down. So I did it after Bo went to sleep, which was 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'd stay up for an hour and a half every day last week before they came on Friday and did this. And we didn't start putting stuff back in until Monday, meaning the laundry units, the refrigerator, the bigger stuff that was more important. And then tonight, for the last 40 minutes, I've been putting this together. This is 100% going to change my background. This is just something to have for the show. And I just put everything back there in the best organizational process that I could do before the show. And I think it looks great, but it's not what's going to happen. And there's one big reason why. I'm going to, and I've wanted to for a while, but I'm going to be getting rid of my Blu-rays. And if you ever pay attention to my background, there was 2 rows of Blu-rays behind me at all times. I don't know the last time I put a disc in anything to watch anything. And I am 100% for physical media. I ride or die with physical media. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But the fact of the matter is, I now have a son, and my son takes up a lot of space. There's a lot of his stuff around. And if I can find ways to make room for that, I'm going to do it. And unfortunately, that is one of the things. So I packed up the Blu-rays. I'm going to unpack them at some point because I'm actually writing them down because I would like to sell them. Get some type of money for them, whether it's $5 a movie or something. I have probably close to 400 Blu-rays, and like packs of like multiple packs of Blu-rays and like some steelbooks, and so I would like to get money for them, but we'll see what happens. But yes, my background is 100% going to change. As you can see, I only have my one light on today, and that is because my strip lights, which you can see right here, I misplaced the plug in the move. I don't know where the plug went. So I have to find that until I can, and until I do so, I can't put my strip lights on, which I'm super bummed about. This one's so bright. So yeah, it's just going to be the green light for now. Hopefully I'll get time to do it before next week's show. But for now, we're rolling with it. And it doesn't really matter what it looks like in the background. We're here to talk about things. You guys are here to see me ramble and sound like an idiot about some stuff, which I am totally for. So, look, we have a couple things that we're going to talk about tonight. But I said this on Twitter when I posted the link earlier. It's also in the description. I would love to leave the majority of the show for any types of questions you guys may have. The 6 of you who are watching live right now, if you guys have questions regarding movies, television, upcoming movies and television, previous movies and television, if you want to throw a little video games in there, I'll do my best. If you guys have any questions for me or comments that we can discuss, topics that you would like to bring up, put them in the chat and I will get to them. Honestly, the Hal Jordan, the September preview are kind of just placeholders in case I don't have things to discuss. I want to start with the Rings of Power, and then we'll kind of filter in some stuff from there. And if I need to go into Hal Jordan, I will. If I need to go into the September stuff, I will. And then obviously at the end of each show, I recommend something on streaming. So that is going to be how the show is going to go tonight. Again, like I said up top, super put together, last minute. Gabby and Bo are currently at their cousin's house, so I'm home alone. It's me and the dog. And also, quick note, that's another reason why I love having this floor. It stays really cool, and Kylo in the heat can come in here and hang out with me. For the last 4 or 5 months, he hasn't been able to do that while I've been doing shows because it's been so damn hot in his garage. He's laying on the floor. He's comfortable. He's happy, and I'm happy. I got my boy with me. So, yes. All right, before we get to things, if you've been here before, which I'm sure you have, I pair a whiskey with the show each night. Sometimes it's a familiar one. Sometimes it's a new one. I'm pretty sure I have done this on the show before, but I tonight have Nelson Brothers Greenbrier Sour Mash, handmade sour mash. If you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I'm a massive, massive fan of Nelson Bros and their Greenbrier whiskey. I really love their whiskey for 2 reasons. One, it's very good. Or actually 3 reasons. One, it's very good. It's been highly rated for a very, very long time. Whiskey Advocate had their Bourbon Reserve on the top 10 list about, I think it was 2 years ago. 2, they have a ton of options. They have multiple different styles of whiskey, which I always appreciate from a company because that means they know what they're doing, right? And 3, because they gifted me a PR package that gave me 2 bottles, and I love them for that. So we are going to be tasting and drinking and talking Nelson Bros handmade sour mash. Very, very good. If you guys have questions about it, let me know. But I'll go over it a little bit later on in the show. Maybe, kind of like a midpoint, I should say, about anything that we could talk about with Nelson Bros. Because they have a really cool history. And like I said, they have a lot of cool options, which is always a plus. So. Yeah. I haven't had whiskey all week, so woo! That one is both kicking me in the ass and tasting great. Hello to everyone, by the way. I see. Hello to you in the chat. Big G, thank you so much for joining me as always. Really love having you here, by the way. I'm curious where you found me. If you wouldn't mind putting that in the chat. I don't know if you found me through Apocalypse or if you found me through a certain point of view, or if you just found me in general. I'm very curious, but I love having you here every week. Booze, my man. Appreciate the background, Jake. It's looking good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Gonna check out Beetlejuice. I want to. I really want to. I've mentioned it multiple times. I think I've probably over-mentioned it at this point. It's difficult for me to get out to the theater, obviously. I can only kind of pick and choose. If it's a major movie the Dunes, the Mad Maxes, the Deadpool and Wolverines, I'm able to sway my way into getting into seeing those movies. Other times I go to the theater, more than likely it has to be something Gabby wants to see. I don't get chances to go to the theater by myself anymore. So if Gabby wants to see Beetlejuice, absolutely. But I will say there's already one movie that's over that I want to see immediately, and that's Alien Romulus. I have not had a chance to see that, and I really, really, really want to see that. So I'm hoping I get a chance to see that soon, because I'm really looking forward to seeing what Fede Alvarez has done with that movie. I've heard great things. I've heard really, really good things, and I just want to see that. So, Page Turners, they were not. Brennan, what's up, man? Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Big G said, from a certain point of view, that's awesome. I'm thankful that you filtered over from that show and that channel. I'm very thankful for that channel for a lot of things. One being the viewership. The audience that we created on that show has been fantastic, and the majority of you have filtered over from that, and I'm very thankful for that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into our first topic of the evening. Kind of, in a way, our only topic of the evening, but at least the one that's going to kick us off here. Let's go ahead and get into the Rings of Power. So, the Lord of the Rings, the very, very expensive Lord of the Rings show from Prime Video, dropped its first 3 episodes last week. And I'll just say right off the bat, I have not seen episode 4. It came out tonight. Today. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I'm going to be doing so after this show. So just speaking on the first 3 episodes of this is what I will be doing. And I want to quickly say that, because I don't remember if we talked much about it. I know Sean and I did a few episodes of like a review on POV when it was coming out, and then we got super busy and just weren't able to keep up with it. I was very much mixed on the first season of this show. And a large part of that was because, a large part of that was because I felt like it was taking its time too much. Another problem I had with House of the Dragon season 2 was a similar thing. Not as bad, though. I felt like the Rings of Power was taking too much time in just getting to where we were supposed to be. There was a lot of exposition. A lot. Like, overload of exposition. And they essentially tried to give a history lesson on everything Lord of the Rings. Like, everything. And so it was just a lot at times, but it was also at the same time boring. Am I allowed to say that? Like, it felt like a lot, but it was also kind of slow and boring at times. It was really only like the last episode or 2 that really started to kick things into gear. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, we could have done this however long ago. I get it. There's certain roads you have to travel to get there. I understand that. But that's where I was with season 1. So going into season 2, I wasn't like, I mean, I was looking forward to it, and I was obviously going to watch it, but I was never like, oh my God, I cannot wait for the season to come out. I'm so looking forward to it. I wasn't diving into trailers. I didn't watch a single trailer for the show. I barely saw any media for it. I actually did a TikTok video on it. I felt like they didn't push the show whatsoever. Like, at all. Like, I felt like there was no marketing on this show on any of my feeds. And it might have just been my feeds that I saw, like my timelines. But I felt like I didn't see any kind of like promotional footage or photos or anything drop before the season start, which is very strange, not just because it's a Lord of the Rings show, but because of how expensive this show is. Now, putting that aside, watching the first 3 episodes, which I watched in a row. I watched all 3 of them in a row. Luckily, I had the time to do so. I did it away from my wife and kid. I shockingly really liked the first 3 episodes. Like I was very into them. And I felt like it has done, not only did it start the season off in a much better, not just like spot than the first season, but it was at a much better pace. The pacing of the first 3 episodes was way, way, way better than anything in season 1. So that leads me to believe that they're learning from their mistakes. But 2, we are getting to where we want to be. We're not taking time. We are getting to the point of it all. Because at the end of the day, and yes, I didn't read any of the Lord of the Rings books. I don't know any of the stories it's based off of or sentences or whatever. I don't know that. But at the end of the day, I know what happens. It's called the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I know all of it. I know that Sauron eventually kind of becomes powerful. He raises armies, and then he's defeated. And then it becomes the Lord of the Rings where they're fighting for the One Ring with the hobbits and everybody else, right? So I don't need like the visions of seeing what happens because we know what happens. Or I don't need these like thoughts of like, oh, what if he's this? And we know, like we know. So I felt like season 2 so far has done a much better job of doing that, where it's not taking as many left and rights as season 1 did. It's much more of a straight path to point A, from point A to point B. And I'm enjoying that. I very much am enjoying that so far. I think the characters are much better this time around. Not to say that they're more likable, but I'm finding them more interesting, which I didn't feel in the first season. So that's all, and that's always a big part of it. Like you want to be interested and feel something for the characters that you're following. Excuse me, I'm exhausted. Especially in a show like this where there's so many characters, there's so many stories. It's like Game of Thrones, right? There's like 5 or 6 different stories going on at once. You want to be invested in them. I didn't feel that in season 1. I am very much feeling that now. Spoiler alert for the first 3 episodes. If you've not seen them, I don't know if it's that big of a spoiler, but here you go. I love the fact that they put the rings on at the end of the first episode. Thank God. Like we're there. Like we got there. We're there. Now we're getting into all of it. Like I know that it's only 3 of however many rings there are, because I know there's a crap ton. There's like 19 or something. But we got the 3 elven rings. They're put on. And now Sauron is back trying to create more. Right? Manipulating Kalamandar or whatever his name is. Manipulating him to make more rings. And right now we're in the midst of him making rings for the dwarves. So I'm enjoying that we're there, right? We're not wasting time. And it's not that I don't want to see the other stories, but let's be honest. The story that we care most about is Sauron and Galadriel and all of that. I love seeing Numenor and all of that, and I get how important that is down the line. But all I care about right now is Sauron and Galadriel and everything with the elves and the making of the rings. That's where I'm at. So I'm happy that we're there. I think so far they've done a really, really good job of telling that story and having us feel invested in these characters and this story, because that is very important. So, yeah, that's currently where I'm at with the Rings of Power Season 2. A couple comments. John Pierce, hey, all, popped in during halftime. I will watch the replay. Hey, I totally get it. But, John, you can do this. I got the game on mute. Put me on mute. Put me on mute and watch the game. How about that? Unless you're watching with people, don't have me on in the background. That's just weird. But I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for always supporting. Andy, oh, man, go watch it and then come back. Are you talking about Beetlejuice or Romulus? I think you're talking about Alien. So yes, I would love to go watch it right this second, but I can't. Andy, I agree that season 1 dragged a bit. I find it funny that Amazon's 2 biggest fantasy shows, Wheel and this, had slow season 1s to set up killer season 2s. Yeah, but with both of those shows, there is so much like exposition of what's happening. Oh, episode 4. Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me go watch it. Let me put the show on pause. I'll put a standby logo for about an hour, and I'll come right back. Yeah, you're right. Wheel of Time, even though I enjoyed Wheel of Time season 1 more than season 1 of The Rings of Power, there is so much like story and exposition to get to with those shows because it's just, they're such massive worlds. And both shows took way too much time trying to give us every single possible detail they could without only giving us the information we needed and moving on. Definitely more so in the Rings of Power case. But they are correcting that. They are fixing things. They're doing a really, really good job. And now I'm really excited to see episode 4. If it's continuing the train of the first 3 episodes, I think this show could actually live up to being what it's supposed to be. Can you believe it? Like, wow, it could live up to the hype, you guys. Oh man. Oof. But yeah, look, that's currently where I'm at. I will probably update you guys with a quick update each and every week. Yeah, because I won't do a show after the episodes air until the next week. And just FYI for you guys watching, I'm trying my best. Gabby and I are both trying our best to lock down a day that works best for me to do this on a weekly basis, like whether it be a Thursday or a Tuesday or whatever. We're trying to input it into our schedule. That way I have it every single week at that time and that day. I'm aiming for Tuesdays because Mondays are sometimes really hellish at work. And it's the start of the week and you don't, it's rough sometimes. I don't know how we got away with it on POV so much, but we did. So I will keep you guys updated, but I'm aiming for Tuesdays. So we'll see what happens. All right. Like I said up top, guys, if you guys have questions about anything, let me know. I would love to discuss things that you may want me to talk about. If there's a topic out there, movie news that came across over the last few weeks that I don't have on the rundown, let me know, please. I will wait for any kind of comments from you guys. There's 7 of you, so hopefully something comes through. I apologize if the internet's kind of going wonky or if I'm getting fuzzy. I just replugged everything back in, so it might take a little bit of time for it to kind of, get back on its groove. I could see the Wi-Fi bars freaking going up and down. So hopefully I don't sound distorted or look fuzzy or anything. If I do, I apologize. Technology can be a bitch, especially when you do it in the garage. Especially when you podcast in the garage with no insulation or AC unit or nothing. I have a janky old fan that's actually doing a pretty good job right now. I got to say, it's doing a pretty decent job. And it's keeping my dog cool, which I love. So, but for now, I'm going to move on. Again, I will stop the show for any kind of questions, topics, etc. So please, please, please let me know. It could be anything regarding my background too. If you guys have recommendations on what you would like to see in the background, let me know. I have a crap ton of movie posters. So more than likely, you're going to see some movie posters put up, which I'm excited to do. Because without the Blu-rays, there's just so much empty space, and I don't need all 4 of these shelves. But who knows? I may find things to put on those shelves. So we'll see. Big G, thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate it. Since I believe you are a Linkin Park fan, you're damn right. Have you heard them with their new singer yet? I have. I love it. I love it. And I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head. Hold on a sec. I got to pull her name up. Emily Armstrong. And she's from a previous rock band called Dead Sarah. I watched. So on their, if you go to their TikTok, Linkin Park's TikTok, they've posted a bunch of clips of her singing some of their classics, and she does a fantastic job live. That's always the tell, right? With music, is someone has to be really good live. And I know that there was a lot of lead up to it and conversations online about what was going to happen and are they going to get a new singer or are they just going to go forward with not doing it? I love the choice. It's different enough, but also very same. She very much fits the vibe. You can tell in her voice that she fits the Linkin Park vibe so far from what I've seen. And they've announced a little mini tour. I think there's like 6 stops, I want to say. There's a couple here in the U.S. and a couple overseas. And then I believe they announced a brand new album too, which I can't wait. I can't wait. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm 100% all for it. It came out today. I tweeted about it. I went on their TikTok. I watched a bunch of stuff. I think she's great. Emily Armstrong is the new I think they brought her down as co-lead singer is what they named her as. So she's essentially going to be the co-lead of like a film, but she's going to be singing along someone else at all times. So I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think it's a really, really good choice. And I do like that they went with a female voice. I think bringing a female voice into the group is a really cool idea. Because you don't see very many female voices who have that kind of range or do that at all, really. So yeah, she reminds you of Lizzie Hale. Yeah, I mean, that's a great comparison. It's a really, really good comparison. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm sure we'll talk more about Linkin Park at some point. I'm a total Linkin Park fanboy. Have been my entire life. Love their stuff. They're my favorite band of all time. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what they put together for sure. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic I have lined up for the evening. Let's talk a little bit of Green Lantern. And specifically the new James Gunn DCU Green Lantern in the television show called Lanterns. It's coming to Max, right? We have a Kyle Rayner in the universe already. That's played by Nathan Fillion. He will be appearing in Superman, James Gunn's Superman. So we already have one Lantern confirmed. And we know that Lanterns is going to follow an older Hal Jordan with a younger Jon Stewart. Legendary, iconic, heroic Hal Jordan at a certain age with a younger Jon Stewart coming into the Corps for the first time. Or like maybe just after he has arrived in the Green Lantern Corps. But it came out this week that apparently, this has not really been confirmed at the moment. This is all just... Oh, Guy Gardner, I apologize. Thank you. Not Kyle Rayner. I get them mixed up. It's Big G, thank you. Guy Gardner. You're right. Nathan Fillion is playing Guy Gardner because there's so many like main Green Lanterns. I get them mixed up all the time. So yes, Guy Gardner will be appearing in Superman, played by Nathan Fillion. James Gunn's best friend, Nathan Fillion. But yeah, look, this week came out that apparently James Gunn, DC, they have a short list for who they would like to play Green Lantern. And much to my surprise, like heavy surprise, we are going in the 50s and 60s route as far as age, which I did not expect whatsoever. So according to multiple sources, an offer has been put out to Josh Brolin to play Hal Jordan in the DCU. Josh Brolin is, I believe, early 60s. Late 50s. He is 56 years old. And not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I was kind of expecting a late 30s, early 40s version of this character. So following that up, it came out later on in the week that if Josh Brolin doesn't accept, if he decides to decline the role and move on, that the short list includes Ewan McGregor and Matthew McConaughey to play Hal Jordan for James Gunn in the DCU and the Lantern show and going forward. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I'm kind of hung up on the age, if I'm being honest. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because it's not. But that is much older than I was expecting. And that means that we're more than likely not going to be getting Hal Jordan for a very long time, which is kind of a bummer. It's a little bit of a bummer that we're not going to be getting like prime Hal Jordan. He's still going to be the legend, heroic, iconic, greatest of all time space cop that we know and love in Lanterns, but he's going to be past his prime. He's still going to be powerful, but he's not going to be in his prime. So it's just taking me a little bit to get over that. And I don't hate the choices that they're going for. Josh Brolin's interesting. I think whenever I think of Josh Brolin, I think of like a cowboy. So, but not like a clean cut cowboy. I think like a dirty rodeo, like down to the bone cowboy. And that's not really what Hal Jordan is. He's not super brooding. He doesn't, kind of, I don't know. It's interesting, the Josh Brolin choice. Now, if I'm to go to the other two, McGregor and McConaughey, 1,000% of the time I'm picking McGregor over McConaughey. McConaughey is too cowboy-y for Hal Jordan. He's just, sometimes he gets a little weird with this stuff, and I don't want that for Hal Jordan. I mean this in the nicest way possible. But I really want kind of your everyday average, really good actor to play Hal Jordan, and that's what Ewan McGregor is. Ewan McGregor can adapt. He can play a multiple of different roles, but he's very straight to the point. He's kind of a straight arrow when it comes to an actor. McConaughey kind of goes a little bit of left, goes a little bit of right. And Big G, you know who would be a great voice as Kilowog? Josh Brolin. He'd be a great voice. Josh Brolin's got that voice. I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'll be excited with whoever they cast. I just think it's interesting that they're kind of going this route. I'm more interested in the age factor than the actor factor right now. Like, I'm trying to picture Josh Brolin in a Green Lantern suit, and I don't see it, like, at all. Like, this dude has played Thanos, Cable, and Jonah Hex. He doesn't really fit the Hal Jordan vibe. I had a Hal Jordan picked, but I think that was never actually going to happen anyway. So, I need to get off of that. My pick was Garrett Hedlund, late 30s, early 40s. That's what I was going for. Right? Can kind of clean up a little bit, fit the build of a space cop like that. But they seem to be going a very different route. So I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm more curious in where they go with the age and how they do the age factor than who they get as the character at this moment. Because let's say that he's playing 50, 55-year-old Hal Jordan in Lanterns. The next time we see him may not be for a year or two. He's going to be pushing 60. We're not going to have that guy for too long. If we ever get a Green Lantern movie, it's going to be a Jon Stewart movie. It's not going to be Hal Jordan. So, yeah, I'm curious where that goes, more so than anything. I'm just waiting to see, first of all, who they cast, but what the real story is and how they're going to handle his age. So we'll see. And like I mentioned at the top of the topic, neither of these people could play this guy. This could all just be smoke screens. This could be scoopers hearing a name and running with it. More times than not, it's relatable, but we'll see. Oh. All right. Greenbrier sour mash. I'm just going to read the back of the bottle before we get into our next topic here. It says, when our great-great-grandfather, Charles Nelson, introduced Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey to the public in 1860, he could have never imagined how popular this creation would have become, or that his process would have set standard by which of all future Tennessee whiskeys were judged. With a revival of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey, which painstakingly recreated the family recipe. Oh, we've painstakingly recreated the family recipe. I apologize. The finest ingredients filtered through a mellowing bed of sugar, maple charcoal, and aged in new charred oak barrels. I definitely taste the smoky flavor of this, but it 100% has that sour mash flavor and bite that'll just kick you in the ass. It's very good. It really, like, it has an incredible aftertaste. Like, it kind of just sits there. Yeah, it's very, very good, but it definitely bites you as soon as it comes off, out of the glass. I can't recommend it enough. And if you're not interested in trying the sour mash, I've talked about the Bourbon Reserve before. Get the Bourbon Reserve. The Bourbon Reserve is stellar. Absolutely stellar. So yeah, check that out. Nelson Bros Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey is what it is called. Such a mouthful for a name. All right, let's go and move into our final topic of the evening. Let's kind of preview September. It's a new month, and with the new month comes tons of new things. Real quick before I move on, I'm gonna get to Booz's comment. Hal Jordan is an important lantern. If he's older, I hope he becomes a dope mentor for all these young core members. Yeah, I mean, that's all we can hope for at this point. If that's the age they're going for, that is all we can hope for. So crossing fingers, that is the case. Wow, I just realized I screwed up the bottom of the... It's the same overlay for each one. All right, I'm going back to the original. Bummer. That's how long of a day it was, guys. Let's talk about September, because there's a lot of things that have been coming out in September. There's a couple of movies, but more so, there's a lot of television coming out in September. Let's just go over the movies real quick. Where is... Because I know there's not a lot of them, but there are some that are pretty important. September. All right. So first and foremost, coming out tomorrow or tonight, technically, is Beetlejuice. That's probably the biggest of the month. Compares with one on the last at the very end, but we'll get to that. Yeah, Beetlejuice. Look, it looks great. I watched just the teaser trailer. I didn't watch anything after, and I think it looks great. Everything I expect from a Beetlejuice film. The whole crew came back, plus Jenna Ortega, which I think she obviously fits great into it. And I hope I get a chance to see it. If not, I'll probably wait for it to come on streaming and I'll get a chance to do it then. And do my Better Late Than Never reviews, which I've been doing on TikTok, which have been great and fun and really, really cool. If you guys don't follow me, I highly recommend following my TikTok. I get my voice out there a lot more. And since I did my last show, I'm doing this new review series on my channel where it's called Better Late Than Ever, and I'm reviewing things that I've missed. Movies that have gone by or TV shows that, took me a little while to watch. For example, I just did a review on the new Ghostbusters film, Frozen Empire. I did The Bike Riders. I did The Fall Guy, and I've done Vikings Valhalla. I've done 4 of them. All things that have kind of passed me over the time because of my new life as being a dad and work and stuff. And I'm going to continue that because it's not only really fun to do, but it's also holding me accountable to watch things, which I'm really, really liking. I have a list on my phone. I'm keeping track, and whenever things hit streaming, I jump on them. I'll be doing one on A Quiet Place Day 1. I watched that just a few days ago. And I'll also be doing one on The Young Woman in the Sea, the Daisy Ridley film, which I loved. So yeah, check those out. It's a really, really fun time. And I'll definitely be doing a review for Beetlejuice if I end up missing it. So, but moving on from this weekend, there is a horror film coming out called The Front Room starring Brandy. If you're interested, apparently it's pretty decent. Yeah, so Brandy Norwood is starring in it, and yeah, I mean, interesting. I'm trying to look at some details for it. This website doesn't have who directs it, but it's an A24 film. So, The Front Room is both written and directed by upcoming American filmmaker Max Eggers, who co-wrote The Lighthouse, and Sam Eggers, also known as the Eggers brothers. The brothers of Robert Eggers, who we all know. Okay, so it's an Eggers brothers film. Very cool. So check that out. It's called The Front Room. Also comes out this weekend. A24 film. Moving on to next weekend, September 13th. I think the most important one coming out is Speak No Evil, which is the James McAvoy film. I think this movie looks awesome. I love James McAvoy in these roles. He goes full send. He's able to really just transform himself into roles. Obviously, we saw him in Split and what he was able to do with that. I think this looks really, really great. It also stars Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy, 2 names that I think are very, very, very underrated. So that is next week. September 20th. There's a couple of movies. There's one called Never Let Me Go, which was with which stars Halle Berry, excuse me. And it looks like a horror film. From the director of The Hills Have Eyes and Crawl. Yeah, it looks like a horror film. Again, I have not watched the trailer. But Never Let Me Go starring Halle Berry comes out the 20th, and that is going up against Transformers 1, which could be battling for the biggest movie of the month with Beetlejuice. This movie could end up making a lot of money. A lot. And not just because it's an animated Transformers movie, but apparently it's really good. And I'm not like overly surprised that could be very good. I think the animation threw a lot of people off when the first trailer dropped. It's just a very, very specific style of animation. But if it is that good, I'm in. It's the first ever fully CG animated Transformers movie. And it has an incredible cast. Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Steve Buscemi. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm. Damn. Yeah, September 20th, Transformers 1. That's one that I would love to get out and go see, but I don't think I'll be able to. I don't think there's any chance I'll be able to go out and see that. And then the last day of the month, September 27th, there's a couple of movies. Bagman, Lee, The Wild Robot, which is an animated movie, could end up making a lot, but also Megalopolis. I really don't want to get into the whole Megalopolis situation, but my God, what a mess. What a mess. There's no chance that you'll get me to go see that movie. No chance. So yeah, that is kind of what September looks like as far as movies go. There's a couple of streaming movies coming out. The biggest one that I think I'm looking forward to, or there's two really. One comes out tomorrow called Rebel Ridge. It's on Netflix. And then at the end of the month, we get Wolves on Apple, which is the George Clooney and Brad Pitt film. Which, speaking of, Ocean's 14, apparently. Damn. Can't wait to learn more about that. Very, very interesting. But yeah, as I mentioned, there's a bunch of TV coming out in September. A bunch. One of the shows right off the bat. Sorry, Gabby's giving me an update. She's driving home right now from the Bay Area. So one of the shows right off the bat that I want to mention that I think I've talked about here plenty of times is Slow Horses. Slow Horses season 4 came out. If you have not watched Slow Horses and you have Apple TV, go watch Slow Horses on Apple TV. Stars Gary Oldman. It's based on a book, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's focused on the British intelligence agency, but specifically MI5, not MI6. It's focused on the agents of MI5, who were considered as kind of the bottom of the barrel, and they're called slow horses. So cannot recommend that show enough. Big G mentioned it, Agatha All Along. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'm not like excited for it. I'm going to watch it. I'm interested in seeing how they handle this character. And I'm interested in seeing if this character in this show has really any impact or importance. Or if they are just doing it because of the popularity of the character from WandaVision. I had to say it. I'm sorry. Not trying to be a bunghole, but I've watched a trailer. I have not watched all trailers, and I was so-so about it. I'm just curious how it all fits in. Or if it's a Marvel Spotlight. It could very well be a Marvel Spotlight. But it doesn't feel like they're marketing it as a Marvel Spotlight. So we'll see. We'll see. On the flip side, speaking of comic book television, the other company across town, DC, has the Penguin coming out. Colin Farrell is the Penguin from the Batman universe. Now, that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. I think his version of the Penguin was great, fantastic, awesome. Couldn't get enough of him in the Batman. And I'm excited to see how this all fits into everything. We've been told that this is pretty much the in-between stages of Batman 1 and 2. And that you can kind of consider this as a sequel to that, but also a prequel to the sequel. If that makes sense. So yeah, that I actually have not watched any trailers for that show. I've stayed away from everything, which I'm very thankful for because I don't need to see anything. My excitement is excited enough. My excitement is high enough for that show that I don't need to watch anything. Let's see. I got that all along. We have Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. This is so it's the anthology series Monsters from Ryan Murphy, and this is the follow-up series to Dahmer. It was titled different. Dahmer was titled Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer Monster or something like that. But this one's titled Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. It stars, I don't know the names of the gentlemen who are playing the brothers, but Javier Bardem is playing their father. So that's pretty cool. That's on Netflix. We also have, where'd it go? We also have the Aaron Hernandez series coming out on FX, the American Sports Story, about Aaron Hernandez and everything that he went through and what happened with him. I don't know if I'm going to end up watching this. I might throw it on. So I'm curious to see the reaction to it before I actually jump into it. So we'll see. Andy comments here. I saw something about the plan is now that WandaVision, Agatha, and Vision are going to be some sort of trilogy. Yeah, I actually strayed away from mentioning that. I did a video on my TikTok about that. It's on my Instagram too. And according to someone who's part of Agatha all along, or no, according to the creator developing Vision Quest, Vision is the third part of the trilogy. Which is interesting because Vision, when whatever that story could be about, does not feel in any way like it could fit in with WandaVision or Agatha all along. And I know his connection to Wanda, and I get that. But it just does not feel like that type of show. Also, Jacqueline Schaefer, who did WandaVision and is part of Agatha, is not a part of Vision, which is possibly a big deal. And Big G, you are correct. Ultron is officially coming back. Not might, he is. James Spader has been cast in Vision. So we will be seeing Ultron return. In what capacity, I'm not sure. But it does make sense because White Vision, I know the show's called Vision Quest, but I'm calling it White Vision because duh. White Vision is more than likely going to search out his origins, where he came from, why he is, who he is, etc. And that obviously leads right back to Ultron. He's a combo baby of Ultron and a stone. So it makes sense for that to happen. I'm just excited to hear James Spader's voice. There was also a rumor that's been unconfirmed at the moment that Elizabeth Olsen will be returning as well, which is almost super obvious. It's kind of like duh. Can't really have Vision without Wanda at this point. It feels weird. Whether it be flashbacks, visions, whatever, it makes sense. So Vision will now have Vision, Ultron, and possibly Scarlet Witch involved. And if it is a third part of a trilogy, maybe Agatha. It's kind of odd, but we'll see. It's a long time until that all happens. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, look, there's a lot of content in September. Actually, on my socials regarding my videos and stuff, I started this month. I started posting like my favorite movies that have been added to streaming. So if you go over to my TikTok or if you go over to my Instagram, I did, like, for example, it's like my 9 favorite movies being added to Max in September, or my 11 favorite movies being added to Prime Video in September. And I just list them. It's not a video. It's just a scroll of the posters of the shows or the movies that are being added. And there's a lot of good stuff being added to streaming services this month. So go check those out. There's probably a movie on there that you've never seen. I try to, it's my favorite. So there's definitely going to be some odd choices here and there, but it's things that I like to watch. I'm not doing like the 5 best movies added to streaming this month. Like, no. It's my channel, so it's going to be my perspective and my opinion, which is why it's going to be my favorites. So if you hate some of my picks, then suck it. But yeah, September's full of great stuff. If there's not a movie or TV show out there that interests you, plenty of streaming options. And speaking of streaming options, let's just jump into my final topic here where I recommend something that is now available on streaming. I did not include this option on any of my lists that I recommended on my socials, specifically the Prime Video one. This movie is available on Prime Video. I wish I would have grabbed a wallpaper. Let me just see if I can grab it real quick. This movie was put back on streaming this month, which I'm very, very thankful for because it is absolutely fantastic. Let's use that one. I don't know if that's the right shape, but we're going to roll with it. So my recommendation for this month is to watch a film from Dan Trachtenberg that came out a number of years ago called 10 Cloverfield Lane. Maybe you have all seen this. There's a good chance. As you can see, it has some pretty big powerhouse names: John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It also stars John Gallagher Jr. He's not on the poster, but he's in the film. 10 Cloverfield Lane is directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Written and directed, really. And he did Prey for Hulu a few years ago. And I think he's an absolutely fantastic filmmaker. I think he makes thriller movies very, very good. He's developing more Predator films. One of them is titled Badlands, and it stars Elle Fanning. It's a spinoff. It's like Prey, just a different story, and it's supposed to be set in the future, which is really cool. And then I don't know if it's confirmed, but apparently in development there's a Prey sequel as well from Dan Trachtenberg. But yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane, man. This movie, I just watched it about a month ago. And I watched it a month ago for the first time since I saw it in the theater, is what I meant to say. It's part of the Cloverfield universe, which the Cloverfield universe has been a little weird. It's done some interesting things. Matt Reeves did the first Cloverfield, which was essentially a found footage alien attack film. And then there was 10 Cloverfield Lane a number of years later, which is set in a bunker as the attack is happening. Like a doomsday event style thing. And they're inside a bunker. And then there was the Cloverfield Paradox, which was set in space and was awful. I've only seen it once. It was a Netflix film. I did not like it whatsoever, and it had some really, really, really good names attached to it as well, and I just wasn't a fan of it. We have not seen another Cloverfield since. I hope we get more, but if we don't, we have this beautiful movie called 10 Cloverfield Lane. It is a chilling, thrilling movie that is so mysterious and kind of just like crawls up your skin like a bug. John Goodman is fantastic. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is fantastic. You guys know how much I love her. And the movie's just great. It's really, really good. Like I said earlier, Dan Trachtenberg is really good at creating that chill factor. Like very, very good. And he definitely brings that here. This is kind of the first movie where he really popped up. Then he absolutely killed it with Prey. And I can't wait to see what he does more of. But if you have the time, if you're looking for something to watch, 10 Cloverfield Lane is now available on Prime Video. I don't know if it's available in other countries. I apologize. My research and everything is obviously related to the U.S. So it's now available on Prime Video in at least the U.S. Andy, I love your comment. I want to bring it up. It never got a theatrical release here, which sucked, but Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare on Prime was great. I could not agree with you more. I wish I was doing Better Late Than Never reviews when I watched that, because I did not get a chance to see that in theaters. I am a Guy Ritchie fanboy. I really am. I love everything he does. I love how unapologetically he is himself. I love how absolutely bonkers he can get. And I love how all in the actors that he does cast go with him. Henry Cavill was all in. Um, Isaac Gonzalez was all in. I mean, the whole cast was. Alan Ritchson was all in. They were Henry Golding. They were all in. And I love the fact that the story was actually true. And fun fact, which I think they mentioned it at the end of the film. So for those of you who may watch it and didn't see this, Henry Cavill's character, who's kind of the captain, the leader, he is a large inspiration for James Bond. Ian Fleming used that real life person as a very large inspiration for James Bond. And you can definitely see the resemblance. Not all of it, right? Because we don't know the exact of how that guy actually was. But the portrayal that Guy Ritchie wrote and the portrayal that Henry Cavill gave definitely has James Bond inspiration in it. The film was fantastic. It was a really, really good time. So yes, I agree with you. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is fantastic. Guy Ritchie film with an all-star cast. Really, really good cast. Go join that, or go watch that, I should say. Andy and Christopher Lee joined this group after his first mission. Yeah, that's even the cooler part. Real life stuff. I love that. That's super, super cool. I just love true stories like that, and I love that Guy Ritchie is bringing that to light. It's really, really cool. All right. Well, I think that is. I put the overlay back up. I look like an idiot. This is like the second or third time I've done this. I got to get it together. I got to find my routine with this podcast, man. It's been tough, but I really am trying to find my routine. I'm really trying to do it on a weekly basis. If you guys have any recommendations, pointers, advice on maybe good things that you would like to see or things that I can try, let me know, please. I do this for you guys. I do this to have conversations with you guys. So the more I hear from you and the more, conversations and opinions you throw out there, the better this show gets. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. It's good to be back on the mic. Very, very thankful to have the chance to be here every single week. I will be back next week. No plans, but I will let you know on the day. I'm trying to lock down a day. I will let you know on an official day. For now, go ahead and go follow me all over social media. I've mentioned it, but you can see me on TikTok and Instagram every single day. You might get tired of me. You might not. But I'm covering news. I'm doing videos. I'm having a really fun time over on those platforms. It's been fun. I've had some success, and I plan on continuing it for a while. So go check those out. If not, I have my Twitter. I apologize. My goodness. I have my Twitter, which I'm not super active anymore, if I'm being honest. It's kind of become a very toxic place, which is very, very unfortunate. So, but yes, follow me here. Follow me on my other socials. You guys can see me every other day. And again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, guys.